there. Welcome back to Living in the Pacific Northwest with Hal Byrd. I'm Hal Byrd, and on today's video, I should have my phone on mute. I think a client's texting me. Oh, yep, she's ready to submit an offer. Fun. Okay. On today's live stream, we are going to be talking about the new construction orientation and what it is and what it means, because a lot of my clients, I think, don't really understand what the purpose of the orientation is. And it seems a little, I don't want to say misleading, but when I think of an orientation, like the orientations that I've personally attended that aren't related to new construction, the new construction orientation is not what you might think. So I'm going to share really quickly the overview of the new construction process, specifically towards the end of the process. And a lot of times there are, buyers will go into a new construction office, they'll look at model homes and tour and stuff like that, and they see a home they like and they just go under contract. I mean, we've all been in model homes at some point in our life, I'm sure. And so what I want to talk to you about is why you might want to have a realtor representing you and some of the things that I personally do as a realtor that help my clients in the process. So I guess I should start by saying, if you're new to the channel, my name is Hal Byrd. I'm a licensed realtor and relocation specialist. I'm a certified relocation specialist in the Pacific Northwest. I'm licensed in both Oregon and Washington, and I serve mainly the Clark County area of Southwest Washington, a little bit of Cowlitz County, and also into the Portland metro area. So mostly the Portland metro area, greater Vanport area, if you will. So if that's something you're interested in, if you're thinking about moving to or moving within the Pacific Northwest, make sure to hit the subscribe button, give this video a like, and you can contact me if you want to discuss your move and what you're considering. You can contact me at my phone number, 360-818-4438. You can text me there, or my Zoom calendar is in the description box below. You can schedule a Zoom with me if you want to chat. So talking about new construction, a lot of people don't understand that when you go into a new construction office, you are speaking to the builder's representative. And in real estate, you have something called agency. So obviously you're aware there's real estate agents, which means that they have an agency relationship with their customers, with their clients. And hello, Jay. And that means that there are certain duties and obligations that you have. So when you're speaking to the person at the model home, they represent the builder. That means that their fiduciary responsibilities, their obligations, are to the builder. Now, they can't lie to you. That would be unethical. And if they're a realtor, that is against our code of ethics. So they do have to deal honestly with integrity, but they will not give you anything that they don't have to. So for instance, a lot of people, I've had people who've contacted me after they've gone under contract on new construction and wanted me to represent them. And yes, I can come in after you go under contract. There's some specifications about that we would have to discuss. But one of the things that the builder's rep won't tell you is, you should probably get an inspection. And not probably, you 100% should get an inspection. I tell all of my clients that no matter what. And a lot of people think, oh, well, it's new construction. Like, everything's built brand new. The walls are new. The paint's new. Like, what's going to be wrong with the house? And the reality is that these builders, any builder, they have possibly dozens of properties they're building all at the same time. And they have subcontractors coming in and out that can, number one, create damage. So even if something was done right the first time, there could be damage done to the property during the construction process. The subs could make a mistake. They could not pay attention to detail. And while you think that you're getting this perfect new construction house, I have yet to see a new construction house completed that doesn't have any issues or flaws or things that need to be corrected. So at the orientation, what typically will happen towards the end is, if you weren't represented by a realtor, just curious, any new home tour videos coming up? Yes, we have some new home tour videos coming up. We'll be posting more new construction videos because it's so popular with my clients. Almost a third of my clients are interested in new construction. And so we're going to be sharing some more about different communities and builders in the area coming up. So make sure you like this video, subscribe so you can be notified, turn on all notifications, you know the deal. So at the orientation process, it varies from builder to builder, but typically they like, if you're going to have an inspection, which I would always recommend, I have one of the best inspectors in Southwest Washington, and they have a killer deal for new construction. So make sure you reach out to me so I can get you their contact information, because I highly recommend them specifically for new construction over any of the other companies that I work with. For resale, I have quite a Rolodex of inspectors, and there's two that I recommend primarily, but for new construction, there's one that gets you more bang for your buck. So I can tell you about that on another time. That's not what this video is about. So you'll want to have had your inspection typically at least a week prior to your orientation, and you typically won't get your orientation date until you're within 30 days of closing. So we kind of work out from that. So 2 weeks after you get your orientation date, you should be scheduling so that it's at least a week before. And the reason is because the inspectors are going to go through, they're going to note everything that they see that's wrong with the property. And these are more material issues. So for instance, one of my clients who was building new construction, they had a bathroom where the light wouldn't turn on in the bathroom unless the bedroom light was also on. There was some wiring that was done incorrectly. The builder had already been through this property multiple times and they didn't catch that, but the inspectors did. So the purpose of having your inspection a week before your orientation is so that we can go back to the builder and we can say, here are the things that were noted on the inspection. We need you to fix them. The builder then has that week to go ahead and fix those issues, which is typically enough time. The supply chain is starting to get a little bit more normalized. I did have clients who had to wait 6 weeks after closing for a new window because one of the windows at their new construction property had broken. So it kind of depends on the materials and stuff, but most things they can do within that week. So then when you show up to orientation, which is fitting because this video is really fitting. I have a orientation tomorrow in Ridgefield, and today I helped a client close on their 1031 exchange for new construction in Orchards. So they're getting their keys today. I'm super excited for them. So the inspection happens, the builder makes those adjustments. Now when you go in for orientation, and I say you, but I mean we, if I'm representing you, I will be there for the inspection, for the orientation, for key handoff. And so we'll go through the property during the orientation and make sure that the things that the inspector called out are actually addressed. We want to make sure that those things are taken care of. And so that's part of the reason for orientation. The next part is the builder is going to walk you through the different systems of your home. So if you have appliances included, they're going to talk to you about those appliances, what warranties come on those appliances, because your builder's warranty won't include the appliances because they have their own warranty. They'll walk you through the HVAC system and where the water shutoff is and things that are going to get you more familiar with your home. They'll tell you about your countertops and whether or not you should seal them. So they go over things like that. But to me, the biggest, most important part of orientation is this is your last chance to tell the builder to fix things. And so we go through room by room, top to bottom, pointing out every imperfection that we see. And this is where I would say that I'm particularly good. My clients that closed today, when I was talking to them last week before the orientation, they were like, we're so nervous. We really need you to be there. And I'm like, of course I'm going to be there. And I was like, I'm super detailed. Like, you don't have to worry. It'll be super easy for you. I've got this all taken care of. And by the time that we walked out of their orientation, they were like, wow, we thought you were over exaggerating, but you really are detailed. And that really just helps ensure that you get a home that is as close to perfection as possible. Because think about incentives. What is the builder's incentive? Let's say that there's like a nick on the wall, right? Oh, by the way, do you like the new sign? We got this new sign. Jarrett just hung it. I think it's really fun. I would like to get one that's Vancouver-esque here, but we might have to get that one made. But yeah, it's a classic Portland sign, and you can't see it, but there's a white stag up there. So this is your last chance to make those corrections to the property. But let's say that there's a big nick in the wall, a gash, right? And it's after closing. And you go back to the builder and you say, hey, Mr. Builder, there's a big hole in the wall. And they say, well, that wasn't there. And how do we know that you didn't create that hole when you moved your stuff in? How do you prove that? The way that you prove that is with the documentation that you take and the builder takes at orientation. Because if there's a big hole in the wall, we need to point it out at orientation before you move in, because then there's, a good possibility that you could have created that issue upon move-in. So we want to make sure that those things get pointed out. And obviously a big hole in the wall would be really easy to see, but I'm even talking about little details like there's a little light paint here, or this drywall is imperfect here. We need this like sanded down or removed. There's a scratch in the window. I'm trying to think about things that I've pointed out. There's a scratch in the stainless steel cooktop. In the cabinets, like I noticed a cracked, it was one of those, I don't know how to describe it, like a screw and what hangs the shelf? I can't think of the word, like a screw and a bracket, and it was busted. Someone had screwed it in too tight and it had cracked. So I had pointed that out as well. Imperfections in the grout line. So there's a lot of little details. And if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen all the corrections that I had shared with my client and all of the blue tape that was all over the property to make sure that it was 100% correct. So if you want to move into a property and feel good about it and not be living in it, and after a week you start noticing these imperfections and you're like, gosh, this looks really sloppy, because that's what I always feel when I go to a new home orientation. Like, the builder will tell you, oh, we've been through this property top to bottom twice, and I'm like, how did you miss all this stuff? Like, and it's just that they have a lot to deal with. When you show up with your realtor, with me, if I'm representing you, I'm only looking at your property. I don't care about your next door neighbors, whereas the builder has to look at and be responsible and go through, tons and tons of homes, depending on how many homes they carry at one time, but it could be 10, 12 homes that they're building at one time. I only have my eyes and you only have your eyes on your one property. So we're going to be a lot more detailed in finding all of the issues. So we're opening all the cabinets. We're making sure that the brackets are right, that things are adjusted properly. In my clients that closed today, one of their kitchen cabinets didn't hang right, and it, like, when you opened it, it swung back. It didn't stay where it was supposed to. So there's just little things like that, scratches and dents and drywall and paint issues. Those are all things to be aware of. One of the things that really gets me and really irks me actually is when you have recessed or can lighting, and you have like the hole for the recessed and can lighting, and they cut the hole too big and there's like a chunk of drywall missing outside of the light. Irks me to no end. So those are the things. And when you turn all the lights on and you look at the light, you can't really tell. And that's what the builders will do. They turn all the lights on. Turn all the lights on as we're going through it, because you need the light to see other things, but you also need to turn the lights off when you're in there if you want to catch those issues with the can and recess lightings. Can/recess, it depends on what you call it. Because you won't catch it if you're looking straight at the light. It's too bright, you can't see the enclosure around it. So there's just little things like that, little details that I make sure that we're noting so that you can get the best home possible. Then what happens is, typically orientation is about a week before your closing. So the last 2 weeks will be 2 weeks out, you have inspection, 1 week out, you have orientation, and then the following week you close and you get your keys. So we'll go back to the house on closing day. We will do a final review. This one is much shorter. The last orientation that I did, which was last week for my clients that closed today, took about 3.5 hours to do, going top to bottom on the house. Tomorrow, the house is a little bit smaller. It'll still probably take 2 to 3 hours, probably 2.5 to 3 hours to go through the house top to bottom to make sure that everything is right for closing. So you really want to make sure that you hire a realtor who is going to be detailed and walk you through those steps and what to expect, and know that what we're asking for is not too much. Like sometimes my clients will be like, oh, are we pointing out too much? We're being too picky. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, this is what we're here to do. We're here to make sure that you are getting a house in the best condition possible. And so that's what typically happens on new home orientation. I wanted to touch base on it really quick because it's not something that is commonly known or talked about. A lot of people will post videos showing you, hey, here's a house tour about new construction. And that's great to let you know what's out there for new construction. But when you're hiring a realtor to represent you for new construction, you want to make sure that that realtor has experience in new construction, that they know the process, that they have good relationships with the builders, to be able to facilitate the best transaction and experience for you. And so while you will see tours on my channel, you will also see me talk you through the process and what to be aware of when it comes to new construction. So I think that's everything that I wanted to share today. Do you guys have any questions? Please drop them in the comments. Make sure to like the video on the way out if you haven't done that yet. Subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. You know, I really appreciate you guys for being here. And again, if you have any questions at all when it comes to moving to or within the Pacific Northwest region, I'd be happy to assist you, whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, or if you're doing a lease option. If you want to know about lease purchasing a property, I can help you with that as well. So without further ado, I will catch you guys next time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Ciao.